Hey, what's up, Saw Strong family? This is Pat Ogletree, and in this video I want to talk to you about fishing docks, and specifically I want to give you a couple of hacks on how it's going to help you to fish docks a little bit easier if, say, your casting skills aren't actually where they need to be, or you're fishing with some people that really can't cast very well. Maybe the kiddos are out there, you've got uncle from Michigan that's never fished before, and this will help you fish these docks a little bit better. So first thing I want to talk about is the actual wanting to fish docks. Docks are very important to fish any time of year, but especially in the summertime. They give you that extra little bit of shade and that shelter that the fish are after, and it's also an area where the bait fish will congregate. So it's very important to hit these docks any time of year, but specifically in the summertime. Now, Luke just did a mini course on this, so if you want an in-depth tutorial on how to fish docks, then I highly recommend checking out Luke's mini course on dock fishing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a hack on how to fish those docks if you're not very good at casting. So the first point that I want to give you is about using a popping cork. Now, using a popping cork will help us out whenever we can't cast very well. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to take our boat and we're going to set it upstream from the dock. We're going to set it up current, whether that be wind current or whether that be river current. We're going to take our popping cork and we're going to cast it right up against the dock as close as we can. And then we're going to open up our bail and we're going to feed line out so the popping cork will actually go up underneath the dock. And what this allows us to do is fish that underneath that dock just like we would if we were skip casting or anything like that. And in the summertime, that's where you're going to see a lot of your fish. They're going to hang out right at the edges of the dock and even underneath the dock. But if you're not good at skip casting and getting underneath there, using that popping cork and floating that underneath the dock is a great way to get underneath there. And as you're doing this, the cool thing about this is you can set your boat up and you get anchored about midway down this dock, and you can work the inside of the dock, the middle of the dock, and then the outside of the dock just by the placement of the cast of your popping cork. So your first cast should be up against the shoreline or the set of pilings that are closest to the shoreline. Let the current take it all the way through the dock, work it back out, and then you can work each set of those pilings just like that. Just place your cast in front of that, let the current take it underneath it, work it back out, and then what you can do is you can develop a pattern on where these fish are holding. So the next set of docks that you run into, you can pretty much eliminate the water column that the fish aren't in and concentrate at least your first cast on where you have been catching fish. So it's a pretty cool little setup. So one of the lures that I recommend using under a popping cork whenever you're fishing docks is going to be the Power Prawn USA. Now, this is the original size. You can also use it in the junior size. Either one will work. I'll put that on a jig head about 1/8 of an ounce. You don't need a whole lot of weight because you're using a short leader, and you basically want that lure to get that popping cork to get underneath that dock quicker. And when you use a lighter weight, it will drift a little bit faster. Now, as far as the colors that I'm going to use, we make them in all different types of colors now. We've got in the natural, the Slam Shady, the Gold Digger, the Fred, the Alabama Leprechaun. But what I like using is in clear water, I'm going to use the natural. If it's muddy water, I'm going to use the Gold Digger. And if it's a tannic water, I'm going to use the Fred color, which is that pink color, the fooling redfish every day. That works really good in tannic water. Now, what I'm going to do when I'm working that popping cork is, as I'm letting it go underneath that dock, I'm actually going to give it a couple of twitches as it's going underneath. You don't want to wait till you get all the way to the far end of the dock and then pop that cork on the way out. You want to go with the current. So give it a couple of pops right there at the beginning of the dock, let it go for a couple feet or two, and then pop it again, and then let it drift back a little bit further and pop it again. You don't want to wait till you're all the way to the end of the dock and then work its way out, because that doesn't look natural. Their bait is going to be moving along with the current, so you want to work your bait with the current. Now, another lure that I like to use underneath a popping cork when I'm fishing these docks is going to be our 2.0 series of baits. That is that 3.5-inch paddle tail. And again, I'm going to rig that on a 1/8 ounce open jig head just like this. And the color that I'm going to use is going to be dependent, just like the shrimp. In clear water, I like using that Slam Shady color. And the darker, muddier water, I'm going to use the Gold Digger. And then in that tannic water, I'm going to use that Fred color again. But these paddle tails work surprisingly well underneath these popping corks. Matter of fact, Matt Lanier did a video on how he does that, and I'll link that down below so you can check that out. Now, of course, when using the popping cork, another thing that you can use is your live bait. You can put a live shrimp on there, or you can put a live mud minnow on there. Put that on a hook, on a circle hook I recommend using, that is going to be comparable to the size of the bait that you're using. Typically a size 1 or a 1/0 is about where you want to be. You don't want too large of a hook to make that bait look unnatural while swimming through the water. You want it to be able to hold its own ground and carry the weight of that hook. But anytime that you're using in a live bait under a popping cork around a boat dock, that is a winning combination. So another bonus hack that I want to give you is this tip actually works well with topwater lures also, like the Moonwalker. You can do the same thing as you do with a popping cork, where you'll take and cast that lure right in front of the dock and let the current take it underneath it, and then you can work it back out. Now the cool thing about this one is you can actually walk the dog with the Moonwalker lure pretty much in place, because the current is taking it underneath the dock and you're on that upside, so you can just keep on twitching it and it'll just stay in that same place. And sometimes that'll entice those fish that are just, you know, on that neutral side and they're not really actively feeding. Sometimes that can entice them into striking. It's actually a pretty cool little method. Another lure that works great in that situation is the wake bait. This one's the 2.5 KVD wake bait. We have these in the shop. This one's called the Shizzle color, and this one works just like a topwater lure. But another cool thing about this one is when it's at rest, it floats at the top. You can let it drift down underneath that dock, and then as you reel it in, this stays right along the surface and it creates a wake. Now, how this works in that situation is when it's swimming against the current, it looks like it's a bait fish that's struggling to fight against that current, and that's another thing that can trigger those inactive fish into striking. Something else you can check out. Pretty cool. So if you're looking to try any of these methods out, we do sell the popping corks. We have the 4 Horsemen popping corks, which are a really quality popping cork, in our shop at fishstrong.com. Of course, we got the Power Prawn USAs. We got the 2.0 lures. We also have the Moonwalkers, the wake baits. All these lures that I talked about in this video are available at fishstrong.com. And I'll put the link down below so you can click on it and go check those out. So I hope you learned something from this video, that I hope you put some more fish in the boat next time. And as always, if you've got any comments or questions, put those down below and I'll answer those as soon as I can. And I really do appreciate you watching. Have a great day. Bye. And if you're new to Salt Strong, just know that we are the best online fishing club in America, where we guarantee you that you will catch more fish in less time, save money on all the tackle that you'll need, and make friends fast, or it's free. For more information, just go to saltstrong.com. And until then, we hope to see you in the insider community soon. Thanks for watching.